Showing ID before you vote is no big deal. Everyone has ID, right?
Oh shit. Here we go again. Now we're going to be told how voting ID is racist. Welcome to another episode of HuFlungPoo, folks.
In case you haven't noticed, the presidential election is almost here. Soon, everybody can go to the polls and cast their ballots to decide the fate of America. Well, almost everybody.
Francesca, I know you're trying to use satire here, but the satire you use in your videos is old and tired. You've been doing it for a while now. I don't know exactly how long. But the point is that here you have the disabled black woman at the end of it being picked off by a bald eagle. I mean, I'm not laughing at it because it's funny. I'm laughing at it because if you look at the poor old black woman who happens to be disabled, she kind of comes off as a woman who, can manage, despite the fact having a walker. So, we're about to get into this video of yours that's going to tell us about how blacks apparently can't seem to get IDs for whatever reason, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But you used a black woman who doesn't look at all enabled to obtain any kind of ID for anything that she needs. Holy crap. So thank you. Thank you for buying into your own, what's the word? Internalized racism. Great job.
Since 2008, 10 states have successfully implemented strict voter ID laws that are meant to prevent voter fraud, but in reality, make it harder for a lot of people to vote. 3 of them make you show either a photo ID, like a driver's license, or non-photo ID, like a bill with your name on it, before you can vote at the polls. The other 7 will only let you vote if you have a photo ID.
Francesca, I hope as an adult you understand exactly by this point how hard it is to get by in life without having some form of photo ID. You certainly didn't apply for your first job without photo ID. Right? Now, admittedly, the states that are using photo ID or a bill, that is definitely easier. But Francesca, is it really all that hard to get a photo ID? No, I don't believe it is. Let's see if you give us some examples later on of which of those states is it so hard to obtain some kind of photo ID. And by that, I don't mean if they think it's too hard for them to get to a place to obtain a photo ID. I'm talking about how hard is it that once you're there, is it to get a photo ID?
So depending on where you live, what you need to do to vote in our national election can be totally different. America!
Well, Francesca, it must really stick in your craw that, even at the national level, the states have the constitutional right to set what their voter requirements are going to be. I bet you really just hate that, huh? Because I can definitely tell you're something of a federalist, although a regressive federalist. But this is how it goes, Francesca. And as I stated, it varies from state to state. I can tell you that in the state of Texas, they have the ability here to either register by mail and now by internet. So it's not that hard to register. And you actually have the choice of either bringing in your registration card or your photo ID. In, I imagine, most other states, that is also applicable. Some states even offer you the opportunity to vote online. Now, what those particular procedures, don't really know. But here's what it really boils down to. People who want to vote, regardless of whether or not they think voter ID is trying to disenfranchise people, will vote. And they will do what is necessary to make sure that they get their vote in. I know anecdotal evidence is not the best argument to make. Case in point, when I was voting in my first presidential election in 1992, I managed to register by mail. And when I couldn't get to the voting place on my own, I had somebody take me. I managed to find somebody that would drive me to the polling booth so I could cast my vote. Even with the states that have these quote-unquote stricter voter laws, there are programs that have popped up all over the place that will help people get to the polls, because they want to make sure that those people who may have a harder time getting to the polling booths are able to get there. Now, you can sit here and try to convince, all your watchers, Francesca, that these voter ID laws are racist. But the fact of the matter is that most people cannot get by in life without having some form of ID. You have to have ID to go buy booze. You have to have ID to apply for a job. Okay? And if they don't have an ID for one or the other, then they're either not working or somebody is illegally purchasing their booze for them. Holy crap. Well, maybe not so much on the booze part. Either way, though, that which is worth doing is worth going through the trouble of making sure that you're capable of doing. All right? If you want to make sure you go to college, make sure that your grades are good enough so that you can get there. If you want to vote, you'll do what you can to get yourself a voter ID. It's as simple as that. And the thing of it is that there have been cases of voter ID or voter fraud brought forth. And no, voter fraud is not a rampant problem. But the fact that it exists at all is reason enough to make sure that it doesn't happen. So, in order to keep voting on the up and up, even if it's only a couple of cases out of 100,000, it's worth making sure that the voting process is not defrauded. If that's a problem for you, Francesca, well then so be it. It's your problem. If you are so concerned about making sure that everybody is able to vote where they live and they need ID to do so, Francesca, I suggest you take your ass to those places, help those people get to where they need to go to get their IDs, and then get them to the polling place. It's as simple as that. I imagine that you've come across at least a little bit of wealth since you started this piece of shit program of yours. Because people are dumb enough to keep watching it, and dumb enough to keep watching it and then reply to it. Guilty here. I am so guilty of it, and so many others. Chessy, shut up, sit down, and start talking about shit that really freaking matters. Stop trying to be divisive. Start trying to unify. Just in general, stop being a huge douchebag. Can you do that for us, Chessy? Probably not. Why bother going through the rest of the video, folks? It's the same shit as it is every time. There's institutional racism, structural racism, internalized racism, coons, Uncle Toms, whatever. She will never be able to answer anything. Well, it's not even that she won't be able to ever answer anything. She just won't. If you criticize her in the least, boom, they're gone. I can speak from personal experience on that. Can't I, Chessy? Before I go, I wanted to do a quick update. If you remember my last video, HJW Blackface, there was a young lady who I did some commentary on who was having a discussion with some people on Facebook and talking about the play Hamilton and how some of the some people were considering going to GeekyCon, I think it was, and dressing up as Hamilton characters for that con, cosplay. Well, apparently there was discussion amongst white cosplayers about basically going there and blackface for all intents and purposes. And anybody who knows history and hasn't seen this video knows that at one point in time, blackface or minstrel singing was considered very demeaning towards black people. One person in particular who made it contemporarily popular was Al Jolson. Point being, anyway, that there seemed to be a certain level of hypocrisy when she was asking white people not to blackface characters that are historically white being played by black actors. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it for me this time. Thanks for stopping by. Like the video, dislike the video. It doesn't matter. I'm happy to have people view it. Go ahead and share it with your friends anyway, or don't share it. Doesn't matter. And hit the subscribe button, or don't hit the subscribe button. Oh man, election 2016. Vote for this, don't vote for that. Anyway, folks, thanks for stopping by. Now you know who flung the poop. Have a great day.